Part 1. Flat, concave, spherical, hollow, and expanding Earth. Everything solved in catastrophe. The 100% correct working model of everything and the coming worldwide catastrophe. With 100% certainty, a worldwide catastrophe is headed our way. It can only happen on a certain date and in a particular year. Civilization will end from this catastrophe and then be rebuilt. I know because our true history shows it has happened dozens of times. The New World Order is not what everyone thinks it is. I will explain everything so you can prepare for the catastrophe and the New World Order/Golden Age that will follow. Time is becoming very short, and we will explain who, what, where, when, why, and how. All your questions will be answered through my 100% correct working model of everything. Here's a picture of St. Peter's Square at the Vatican, the world's most accurate and important sundial to monitor the sun and time, the real doomsday clock. After I teach you everything and what the sun really is, then you will know the only time the catastrophe can happen. Why does the Vatican have a sundial? It lets the elect/controllers know when the days are being shortened. And except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Matthew 24:22, King James Version. To begin, you must understand you know nothing. We all were wrong. You must humble yourself completely to know the truth. Then you can attain true wisdom. You must unlearn what you have learned. Yoda. The eyes can't see what the mind doesn't know. Unknown. The plane you live on is flat. The world it sits in is concave and expanding. The structure it resides in is spherical and hollow. The Holy Grail, the one and only true answer to everything in your world. We will explain it all to you. I didn't want to be first, I wanted to be 100% correct. No one on YouTube is even close to figuring it all out. The scarier part is neither are the controllers. I'm an inventor, and I've been working on the correct model of everything for nearly 40 years. This one simple model is the key to all knowledge and wisdom. I have partnered up with Mia, and we're going to tell you the real truth. No theories, no beliefs, just the facts of your world solely based on real science and your true history. We will teach you everything through the videos on these channels. Mia's new pair of glasses, my new pair of glasses, and Brianaustinlambert33. All 30 to 50 videos will be around 3 to 5 minutes, short, concise, and simple. The real answers are simple, so no need for complicated false answers like the controllers do. Doubt us now, but you will know it is the truth when we are finished. To navigate the YouTube pitfalls, we will not show any video clips or play any music. We will provide all the links to any and all resources needed to help you see the complete truth. Every word and image I show is important and used for a very deliberate purpose. To gain the truth, you must fully understand everything I show you. The truth is simple once you know it, but getting there can be tough. There is much to learn, so we will post new videos as soon as possible. Subscribe, tell your friends, let everyone know about the truth and the channels. Part 2. Flat, concave, spherical, hollow, and expanding Earth. Water and the flat plane. I seek the truth because my curiosity exceeds my desire to prove myself right. There's more to this world than you think. Unknown. Occam's razor. No more things should be presumed to exist than are absolutely necessary, i.e., the fewer assumptions an explanation of the phenomenon depends on, the better the explanation. William of Occam. Words and definitions are crucial for understanding the truth. Synonyms for horizon: flat, level, plane, smooth, even, straight, parallel. Definition of sea level: having a flat or even surface. Called sea level for a reason. It is level and flat. The controllers have always lied to you, but water has never lied to anyone. Ever. The surface of still water is flat and will always be flat. Water will always fill the container it is in. Water will always seek its own level. Water cannot lie. It's flat. Over 70% of the surface of the Earth is water. Water is the most important proof of the shape and structure of your planet. This is what really happens to water on a spinning or rotating ball. Water will always tell you the truth if you are willing to see and listen. The answers are easy to see if you ask the right questions. Ask any pilot how they account for the curvature of the Earth. They do not account for the curvature. It's simple, because there is no curvature, up or down. The surface of the plane is flat. Always flat. Empty your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water in a cup, it becomes a cup. You put water in a bottle, it becomes a bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes a teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. Bruce Lee. Diamagnetism of water is extremely important for understanding the truth. This is an image of a strong magnet in a bowl of water. Magnetic fields repulse water. Electromagnetism is the one and only force in the cosmos. I will do separate videos on diamagnetism and electromagnetism at a later date. You have to understand the structure of the world you live on. The flat surface to the plane is the key to the puzzle. You can't play chess without the chessboard. When you accept the true flat structure, then the other pieces of the puzzle will fall into place. Water shows you the truth about the flat plane you live on. There is a lot more to the overall structure, but understanding the flat surface is an absolute crucial starting point for the truth. Part 3. Flat, concave, spherical, hollow, and expanding Earth. The motionless, fixed, and stationary plane. Once you start speaking your truth, you can't stop. It demands to be screamed in every aspect of your life and will not remain hidden. Once you have been awakened, you can never go back to sleep. Unknown. The Holy Grail. Motionless, stationary, and fixed. A bowl of soup. The best analogy of how the Earth's surface takes its form. The bowl confines the matter and liquids. The broth is akin to the sea level of the oceans and the food akin to the continents. Why do the controllers love to make things more complicated than they are? Because there is no money in the truth. The simple answer to the truth would make their religious, educational, and other institutions pointless and profitless. The truth could be taught in a single year to an 11-year-old child. No need for 13 to 21 years of indoctrination in schools. Science, an experiment that is observable and repeatable. Theoretical science is not science. It is junk and you can throw it out with the trash. There has never been any repeatable or observable science experiment that confirms any movement of the Earth, but yet they feed everyone this garbage like in this image of our solar system traveling through space. Current accepted heliocentric model. Earth spins 1,000 miles per hour. Earth revolves around Sun 67,000 miles per hour. Sun revolves around Milky Way galaxy 514,000 miles per hour. Universe expanding 1.3 million miles per hour. And yet, water can be completely motionless. Remember, water does not lie, yet the controllers always have. The Earth does not spin. The oceans are one of many proofs. If the Earth were spinning, water would flow from the polar regions on the axis of spin towards the equator. Then the water would fly off the spinning object at the equator, just like in this picture. Fluid dynamics, the flow of gases and liquids while in movement. The waters and atmosphere of the Earth would not stay in place if the Earth were traveling in 4 different directions at 4 different incredible speeds. Fluid dynamics clearly shows us that the Earth is not moving at all. It is motionless, fixed, and stationary. But so is all matter in our cosmos. I will explain in a later video. Yes, it really is this simple. KISS. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Complicated theories and fancy mathematics or common sense. You decide. One Chronicles 16:30 King James Version. Fear before him, all the earth. The world also shall be stable, that it be not moved. Psalms 104:5 King James Version. Who laid the foundations of the earth, that it should not be removed forever. To all the geocentrists out there, no, we are not the center of the cosmos. We are one small disk of many multitudes. I will explain more in a future video. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Every cowboy. We can only show you the truth, but it is up to you to accept it. Part 4. Coriolis effect explained. Bullets and spinning objects, the Magnus effect on the flat Earth. How does our model correctly account for the Coriolis effect on bullets and long-range shooting? Again, the answer is simple, and the controllers got it wrong. They officially call it the Coriolis effect, but it is not. Here's a diagram of the official explanation of the Coriolis effect on bullets. The apparent deflection of a body in motion with respect to the Earth and caused by the rotation of the Earth. Deflecting right in the northern hemisphere and deflecting left in the southern hemisphere. The official explanation is complete rubbish. The Earth does not spin, rotate, or move. The Earth is motionless, fixed, and stationary. The Holy Grail, a cup or bowl. We will explain more in future videos. Rifled barrels are used to create the spin of the bullet. The spin stabilizes the bullet in flight, but also creates the deviation from the expected path of flight. Here's a diagram of what happens to a bullet in a rifled barrel and then a smooth bore barrel. The real answer, the Magnus effect. As the ball is spinning, there's friction created on one side, and then the air flows freely on the other side. Magnus effect, the force exerted on a rapidly spinning cylinder or sphere moving through air or another fluid in a direction at the angle to the axis of spin. This force is responsible for the swerving of balls when hit or thrown with spin. A spinning rifle bullet, Magnus effect, not Coriolis effect. The Magnus effect on spinning rifled bullets work the same as spinning balls in forward motion. Again, like always, the answers are simple. Another diagram of air flowing over a spinning ball. Examples of the Magnus effect: baseball pitches, curve, slider, fastball; tennis, topspin, slice, drop shot; golf, draw, fade, cut, slice, etc. Sideways spin or a spiral action will deviate left or right, as in a football or rifled bullet, depending on the rotation of spin. A front to back or back to front spin will deviate up or down. Think top spin or backspin on a tennis ball. Great video demo on the Magnus effect. A guy dropping a basketball from a dam. Link will be in the description. Part 5, Coriolis effect explained. Airplanes and the Magnus effect on the flat Earth. For every good reason there is to lie, there is a better reason to tell the truth. Bo Bennett. How come airplanes are not affected by the Coriolis effect while in flight? Before we begin, let's recap the Coriolis effect. Here's the silly diagram from the controllers again, the official explanation of the Coriolis effect. The apparent deflection of a body in motion with respect to the Earth and caused by the rotation of the Earth. Deflecting right in the northern hemisphere and deflecting left in the southern hemisphere. This is how ridiculous the controller's models are. They say the Earth moves in 4 different speeds and 4 different directions of movements. However, they only take into account one for the asinine Coriolis effect. We will teach you how to think again. You have the most powerful weapon in the cosmos, your brain. I suggest you use it. Me, Brianaustinlambert. Just a reminder, the Earth does not spin, rotate, or move. The Coriolis effect is an incorrect description of the deviated paths of objects in motion. Remember, the Earth is motionless, fixed, and stationary. The Holy Grail is a bowl, cup, or platter, whichever term you prefer. The Grail is the concave structure that confines your world. We will go into greater detail in future videos. Now back to the question, how come airplanes are not affected by the Coriolis effect while in flight? Again, the answer is simple, because airplanes do not spin. Airplanes do not experience any deviation in their expected path because the Magnus effect does not apply to things that do not spin. No spin equals no Magnus effect equals no deviation in expected path. Recap of the Magnus effect. Magnus effect, the force exerted on a rapidly spinning cylinder or sphere moving through air or another fluid in a direction at the angle to the axis of spin. The force is responsible for the swerving of balls when hit or thrown with spin. Simplicity, the key to understanding everything. Part 6, Coriolis effect explained. Hurricanes and magnetohydrodynamics on the flat Earth. Hurricanes, cyclones, and typhoons are just different names for cyclical storm systems depending on which part of the world they occur. Cyclical storms are caused by electromagnetism in a process called magnetohydrodynamics, and not by the Coriolis effect of a spinning Earth. The Earth does not spin, rotate, or move. It's motionless, fixed, and stationary. Here's a diagram of how storm systems move in the northern and southern hemisphere. Counterclockwise in the north, clockwise in the south. Everything from the North Pole to the equator is of one polarity or charge. And conversely, everything from the equator to the South Antarctic ring is of the opposite polarity or charge. One polarity or charge in the north, and the opposite polarity or charge in the south. In a future video, we will explain the true magnetic structure. Once again, theoretical science got it wrong. Again, remember what science really is, an experiment that is observable and repeatable. Theoretical science is not real science. It is a religious belief system. Real science, electromagnetism. Electromagnetism is the one true force in the cosmos. That is why you only have gadgets that are powered by electricity. Gravity and the others are bollocks. Don't worry, we will explain. Right-hand rule of electricity. Right-hand rule of electricity. Directional flow of electrical current determines direction of spin. Thumb points to direction of current flow, and fingers show the direction of spin. Magnetohydrodynamics, the behavior of an electrically conductive fluid, plasma, molten metals, water, acted on by a magnetic field. In the case of cyclical storms, the conductive liquid would be the salt water of the oceans. Electrical current flow in the polarity of the magnetic field determines rotational spin of storms, not the Coriolis effect. Sorry, Mr. Coriolis, you have been completely debunked. Another theoretical science model down the drain. Short video on how magnetohydrodynamics works and creates the correct spins for the storms on each side of the equator. Link will be in the description. Absolutely vital information to watch and understand can be found at this channel, Mr. Too Tough 2. Sub and watch his videos. I would highly recommend that you watch all of his videos about electricity. The other stuff we will get to and is must for seeing the whole picture of the truth. Part 7. The real meaning of the number 33 on the flat earth. So why am I doing a video about a number in this video series? Because some truthers have an irrational fear of everything at this point, for some very good reasons. I have gotten comments and messages about the number 33. So here is a real reason why 33 is the most important number to the controllers. It is the safest place to be on the flat plane when the catastrophe hits. 33 degrees north latitude. The black line represents the 33rd parallel on a regular map, even though we all know the surface of the Earth is flat. The area around 33 degrees north latitude is where most of the ancient civilization's ruins are located. The inhabitants of those areas were the majority of the survivors after the past catastrophes. Survivability was greater around the band, about 5 to 8 degrees on either side of the 33rd parallel. Almost everywhere else, the cities were completely obliterated with virtually no survivors and no remains whatsoever. I call it the Goldilocks zone because it is the safest area during the catastrophe. I can't show you yet why, because you still have to learn a whole lot more to understand the nature of the catastrophe. That is why the controllers have gone to war in Libya, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, and wanted to go to war in Iran. All of these nations are on or around the 33rd parallel. They are building bases, bunkers, and shelters to survive the catastrophe in these regions around the 33rd parallel and using war as the cover for their deception. In a future video, I will explain the science of why that area around the 33rd degree parallel is the safest place to be. Stay tuned, it is vital information for planning and preparing for the coming catastrophe. So I thought it would be a good time to address fear. If you have an irrational fear of a number, then this video series will most likely not be for you. Please feel free to leave at any time. I am trying to reach and warn people that are still rational in their thoughts. This video series is not fear porn or entertainment. If you watch YouTube videos to be scared or to be entertained, then this series is not for you. I am trying to get the truth out to people that have eyes to see and ears to hear. I will do a video on why people should not be afraid. The controllers want you afraid. If people are afraid, they can't think rationally. Rational thought is what the controllers are afraid of. So I'm here to help facilitate people in using their brains to think critically and rationally again. Now to the Masons, Illuminati, and other secret societies. The Masons and 33 degrees. It is their degree level in which a mind becomes unfrozen. Water is frozen at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. At 33 degrees, it becomes water and unfrozen. Do these secret societies use 33 as a secret code or something more sinister? It doesn't matter, and I could care less. They do not have the full truth, and they have lost their true history and wisdom. I have never been part of any secret organizations, societies, or clubs. I have absolutely nothing to hide. I am using my full real name in my channel. In an upcoming video, I will give my background to help calm some reservations about who I am. Why do I use 33 in my YouTube account name and elsewhere? Because it was my favorite number since I was a kid, and I'm not changing my favorite number because some people are afraid of it. People, it's just a number. 33 became my favorite number because Georgetown was my favorite college basketball team and Patrick Ewing was my favorite player. He wore 33, so I wanted to wear 33. That is how it became my favorite number and why I still use the number 33. No truther, controller, or anyone else will ever take my number away from me. So hence my love for the number 33. Just a boy who liked the number of his favorite player. If you think there is anything more than that, then I can't help you, and this video series will be of no help to you either. Plus, 33 just so happens to be the most beautiful number ever. I also like these other numbers: 1, 3, 11, 13, 31, 33, 111, 133, 214, 311, 333. Just in case anyone is afraid of colors, my favorite color is blue. If you are worried about my motives, ask yourself this question: when was the last time you voted? I have only voted one time in my life, 1992 presidential election for Ross Perot. Eligible to vote since 1989. I have never voted for a Republican or Democrat. I have been awake at various levels my entire life. I started questioning the system at 7 years old when I walked home from church. When I hear garbage being spewed, I walk away. So why am I revealing the truth on YouTube and making these series of videos with Mia? To clear my conscience. I know what is coming and no one else does, including the controllers. How could I not try telling everyone? Plus, Mia is super fun to work with. I will survive the coming catastrophe because I know exactly how it works. I need other decent people to survive and to help rebuild civilization better and kinder next time. Plus, I really don't want to be the only dude to survive. Then what would be the point? Ecclesiastes 1, 17 through 18, King James Version. And I gave my heart to know wisdom, and to know madness and folly. I perceive that this also is vexation of spirit. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. Part 8. Catastrophe date and the only date it can happen on the flat earth. So here we are at the point where I answer the most important question you all want to know. When will it happen? The only date that the catastrophe can happen is starting on the winter solstice, December 21st. The Mayans had it right, but the controllers changed the year. You are actually not in the year of our Lord 2018. I will explain in another video. Genesis 1:14, King James Version. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. Here's a diagram of the solstices and the equinoxes throughout the year. Most of you truthers already know this part, but the rest of the masses have no idea. In the northern hemisphere, the sun reaches its most southerly point on the horizon on the winter solstice, and it is the shortest day. Then for 3 days it sets in the exact same spot. On Christmas Eve, if the sun sets heading back north, then nothing will happen and it's just another regular year. However, if the sun moves on a southerly path and then disappears on Christmas Eve, then hold on to your hats because things are going to get real bad. I will go into the science behind it in upcoming videos. When the sun disappears, then an electromagnetic phenomenon of such an unbelievable nature will make the whole world shake and burn, along with many other trials to endure. The Christmas Day catastrophe, the one and only date. Have this picture of this plasma etched into your mind. It's what's coming. On Christmas Eve and into Christmas Day, the electrical plasma event will be seen by the entire world at the top center of the dome that resides above us on our flat plane. That is the real reason why we have traditions of lights on Christmas trees and houses. We use electricity and light to worship and ward off the electrical plasma catastrophe that lit up the entire world. Christmas is not what you have been told. It is absolutely 100% the carried on knowledge of the ancients of the one and only date in the year the worldwide catastrophe can happen. This is why Jesus referred to it as the Son of Man, and why the whole world will witness the coming. When you are on a flat plane, then everyone will see, all at the same time, the plasma event at the very top center of the dome over the flat plane. All cultures describe the exact same event. How do I know the controllers know some of the knowledge but not all of it? Lots of reasons, but here are two examples. SpaceX launch over Los Angeles 22 December 2017, and the Russian rocket launch on 26 December 2017. Day after the solstice and the day after Christmas. They just had the wrong year. They were trying to get out of the dome. I will explain in an upcoming video. Part 9, Catastrophe Year. The shortening of days on the flat earth. Isaiah 13:10, King James Version. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. So what about the year? Let's get back to St. Peter's Square at the Vatican and their sundial. The controllers, or the elect, watch that very closely, as do I. When the days become shortened significantly, then it will be in that year. Remember Matthew 24:22, the shortening of days, see part 1. You have to track time to know when the days are shortened. You need an analog clock, preferably battery powered, that is not tied into the system. The controllers mess with time to conceal the shortening of days from you. That is the real reason for daylight savings time, so they can reset the clocks and the masses are none the wiser to the shortening. We lost 11 minutes last year by my calculations. Now, if you believe in the heliocentric model, then good luck to you and have a Merry Christmas. But when you accept the true structure and mechanisms of the 100% correct working model, then you will have a fighting chance to survive. The sun is so not what you think. The yellow thing we all see in the sky is just the focal point of light through a lens. Optics, no more, no less. The thing that produces that light is a deep subject for later videos. Yes, the sun can and does disappear. The electromagnetic plasma event causes the directional flow of electrical current to change directions. During the changeover, the light we call the sun gets replaced by the plasma, and then the new world order begins. Your sky will no longer be what you see now. I call it the red sky. I will explain in detail in future videos. Now back to the SpaceX and Russian launches on the 22nd and 26th of December of 2017. They launched the day after winter solstice and the day after Christmas. They were spot on the dates, but off on the year. The shortening of days was not great enough for the electrical current and plasma event to happen. They were trying to escape through the gates of heaven, because those are the only dates you can leave your dome-covered plane. The huge plume from the rockets was from them actually piercing the waters above. Yes, people, there are waters above. That is why your sky is blue and your night sky is a very dark blue and not black. The rockets penetrating the waters is exactly the same effect when a bullet penetrates water, except the rocket isn't spinning, so no spiral action on the water. The controllers and the elect can never get it right because they do not have the Holy Grail. I do. It is the base structure of everything in the world, from the micro to the macro and everything in between. I will explain what it is and how it works, but before we get to that point, you have to learn a ton of truths before you get to the ultimate truth. People, you need to learn patience. The truth will be revealed, and the truth shall set you free. To sum up, in what year will the electromagnetic plasma event and catastrophe occur? Only in the year when the days are shortened significantly. You will know if you keep track of time. Part 10, Sun, Movement of Heavenly Bodies on the Flat Earth. The official explanation of the sun. Don't bother reading their text. It's BS. I will sum up their model for you. They think the sun is a nuclear furnace that creates its own energy from nothing, has been burning for billions of years, and will keep on burning for billions more. Also, let's not forget that it moves 514,000 miles per hour around the Milky Way galaxy and 1.3 million miles per hour expanding from the center of the universe. But it stays in a perfectly spherical shape with no tail created from those speeds. Comets have tails. So why do I mention a tail? Because it seems the only thing that moves in space, in their model, that creates a tail are comets. If comets create a tail from them traveling in space, wouldn't it make sense that all things hurtling through space should also have tails, including the sun and Earth? Comets in their model have dust and gas tails, while the Earth has dust and gases, and the sun has gases. With all the different movements and speeds of the heavenly bodies, only comets leave tails in their wake while traveling through space? Just like the Earth, the sun does not move. It is fixed and stationary. However, unlike the Earth, it does spin and rotate, but it is not traveling anywhere. The controllers say this image is of the red rectangle nebula, but this is really what your real sun looks like. This is a pyramid with the all-seeing eye. As above, so below. One pyramid above and one below with the capstone and eye at the connection point. The yellow thing in the sky you see every day is just light. The light comes from this plasma structure at the very center above the dome over the flat plane in the very center of the spherical hollow structure. When you have 6 pyramids all connected together, you get a cube. Then the cube becomes a cross. So 6 pyramids, ancient Egypt, form a cube, Islam, then unfolds into a cross, Christianity. Are you seeing why they worship these symbols? Because they saw them in their sky. This is why the controllers or the Illuminati worship the pyramid with the all-seeing eye. It is what is seen in the red sky after the catastrophe. They are warning their fellow members that the catastrophe is imminent. This is an image of a Vajra. Do your homework on this symbol. I will be doing a video solely on this structure. It is that important to know how the ancients knew this form. Let's recap and sum up what we know so far. Remember, all solid matter in the cosmos does not spin, rotate, or move. All solid matter in the cosmos is also motionless, fixed, and stationary. Not just some of the matter, all solid matter. The sun is fixed and does not move. The earth is fixed and does not move. If all solid matter does not move and the earth and sun do not move, then how does the sun, moon, and stars move from east to west in our sky? If you like riddles, you might want to pause it here to take some time to take a guess before the next slide. Again, the answer is simple. The light moves. Norwegian light spiral anomaly, 9 December 2009. This is a real photo. No worries, I will explain it all. Part 11. Light and optics on the flat Earth. A picture of our sun in the daytime sky. The sun is just light, the focal point of light through a converging lens. Here is light from flashlights. There is no difference between sunlight and light from these flashlights. The sun is just light. Simplicity. Optics, the key to understanding the light we call the sun. The two things you need in optics are light and a lens. A lens is just a transparent object that will reflect or refract light. Glass, ice, and water are all lenses. Glass. Ice. Water. Two types of lenses, a converging lens and a diverging lens. Converging lens is when the light passes through a convex lens and converges inward and crosses paths. Diverging lens is when light passes through a concave lens and diverges and moves away from one another. Total internal reflection. Light reflected and refracted while going through water as the lens. The waters above. Diagram of a convex lens and the focal point. When light goes through the lens, it creates a focal point. In the case of our flat Earth, the waters above is the converging lens that causes the light to converge into the focal point. The circular object you see in the daytime sky we call the sun is just the focal point of the converging light. No more, no less. The focal point of light on converging lens is on the same side of lens as the observer, opposite side of lens for the diverging lens. So focal point would be in the sky, below the lens and above the observer. Genesis 1:16 through 17. And God made two great lights, the greater light the sun to rule the day, and the lesser light the moon to rule the night. He made the stars also, and God set them in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth. The dome above the flat plane is not the firmament. The sky is the firmament, and the waters above is the lens. The sun is the focal point of light in the sky. Genesis 1:8 King James Version. And God called the firmament heaven. Sky equals firmament equals heaven. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Part 12. The electromagnetic ice dome on the flat Earth. There is one more part to the optical part to this story, the dome above us. What forms a dome is an electromagnetic process that will be covered in greater detail later in another video. The electromagnetic dome is why the controllers cannot get out until the changeover/catastrophe. It is also why they can only dig to 12.2 kilometers, 7.6 miles deep into the earth. The electromagnetic dome confines all matter within the dome, and nothing can enter or escape while the electromagnetic dome is up, except one thing: water. Remember, the dome is not the firmament. The sky is the firmament and heaven. Genesis 1, 6-8, King James Version. And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the middle of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven." Remember this picture in part 2, water, showing a very strong magnet repulsing the water. Water is diamagnetic and is repulsed by electromagnetic fields. Charge/polarity does not matter. Water is repulsed by both positive and negative charges/polarities. A section of the electromagnetic field is what separates the waters above from the waters below. Still too early to get into this any deeper, still much to learn before we can go there. Patience. Back to the dome above us. The electromagnetic dome is lined with a transparent lens. That lens is made of ice, not glass. The waters above are frozen at the coldest place, closest to the electromagnetic dome. A picture of two types of ice cubes. The one on the left is opaque and cloudy because it has impurities in the water. The one on the right is crystal clear because it is pure with no impurities in the water, distilled. The pure water creates a crystal clear lens that works just like pure glass in any lens that is man-made. Please go to the link in the description section to view a video on starting fire with ice. The ice is the lens and works like a magnifying glass, a converging lens that converges all light to the focal point. Then the focal point of light ignites the tinder to start the fire. Great survival skill to learn also. There is a huge difference between the waters above and the waters below. Above is pure water and below is impure water. How and why can water be pure above and not below? The waters above, pure, no impurities, even better than top grade distilled water. Because water is made above. A byproduct of plasma arcing is water. Go back to Mr. Too Tough 2 channel and watch Water on the Sun. He's got the EM electromagnetic part figured out, but can't see the truth because he is stuck in the heliocentric model. The waters below, dirty, lots of impurities mixed with all sorts of other matter and is not pure. Old, recycled water and not newly made. That is why ice is white and cloudy down here. The waters above, new, pure water equals crystal clear ice. The waters below, old, impure water equals cloudy, white ice. To sum up, the dome is not the firmament. The dome is an electromagnetic field. Water is diamagnetic, repulsed by EM field. Waters above and waters below. Waters freezes closest to the electromagnetic dome. Pure ice is formed and acts like a glass lens. Ice lens needed for second part of optics along with the waters above. Why do I keep showing this picture, and what is it? This is called the apotheosis of Washington in the U.S. Capitol building. Apotheosis definition: the elevation of someone to divine status, deification. Time for some homework for you. Part 13, Brianaustinlambert on the Flat Earth. Who am I? I'm just another normal dude. I am no guru, prophet, savior, or anything else. I am just a dude who has always been extremely curious in how things worked. I have a very curious mind and would get extremely frustrated with the answers the controllers gave me. Nothing ever made any sense to me. I knew there had to be another answer to the garbage that I was taught. I was that super smart kid that everyone cheated off of in class. I could recite anything and everything. My mind was like a sponge. I knew every ounce of trivia and knew all the theories and beliefs. And yet I could still not come up with the correct answer to the model of everything problem. For leisure, I would do anything that challenged my mind. I loved trying to solve anything. I never let my mind atrophy. I always challenged it to keep it sharp and working properly. My background: grew up in a small town on an orchard, normal kid, really liked girls, played sports, hence the love of 33, graduated high school 3.8 GPA, enlisted in the Army for college money in 1991, light infantry M60 machine gunner. What? Combat veteran, Somalia 1993, 3 humanitarian service awards, honorable discharge in 94. College 1995 to 98, hated it. Wasted time and money, 176 out of 180 credits for BA in ancient history. School wouldn't accept my passing AP exam in economics, so I was pissed and didn't finish my degree. Didn't care about their worthless piece of paper because I knew I learned nothing there anyways. Worked a whole bunch of odd jobs throughout the years. Here are the main ones. Managed large dog kennel starting in 99. Accounting manager, American Red Cross, started in 05. Inventing in 07. Started business in 13, with plenty of jobs and night jobs in between to make ends meet. Seems like I've done everything from logging with a chainsaw and excavator to working in a pathetic cubicle. I've delivered pizzas and I've picked up dog shysta for a living. So I think that makes me a pretty normal dude. I'm broke and have a ton of debt. Yep, I'm normal. People have made a lot of comments, but the overarching negative ones have been this: it is impossible for anyone to figure out everything. That is why everyone else failed. I knew I could do it. Every problem has an answer. It just depends on how much pain and suffering one is willing to endure. And I can endure. Plus, I never said I figured out everything. I said I have the 100% correct working model of everything. Words, people, they have meanings for a reason. I also have an unwavering confidence in my mind and in myself. I know I can do anything because I do not set limitations upon myself. I feel sorry for the people that do, because they are the ones that place the shackles of bondage upon themselves. Now I'll tell you the secret and why I succeeded and no one else did. I cheated. I listened to the elders, sages, prophets, and other ancient teachers' writings, and I listened to what they were actually saying and not what the controllers wanted me to know. That is where humility comes into play. When you humble yourself completely and realize you don't know jack shysta, then you can hear what the words are saying and the messages being conveyed. My humbling came back in 2013. My epiphany came while working on the problem of light in my garage. I had never even seen a video on the flat earth, but the answer came to me and it hit me like a ton of bricks. The surface had to be flat. My world just got turned upside down. I'm a manly man and very rarely cry, but I broke down and cried for at least an hour. I just realized everything I was taught was either a lie or false. The death of my worldview was in full force. With the death comes the 5 stages of grief. denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. So I suffered and humbled myself. Then quickly everything started to fall into place. The key to the puzzle was the flat surface. Everything was solved in my model by late 2013, except for one thing, the moon. So all the things you are seeing now I have kept to myself since 2013. I was not prepared for what I was learning. It weighed heavy on me, hence this passage. Ecclesiastes 1:18, King James Version. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. How was I able to solve the problem while no one else could? Well, I'm glad you asked. Like I said, I have been working on the problem for the correct working model of everything since I was 7, at various levels and stages. I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none. While everyone else was looking at the tiny slice of their pie and being compartmentalized, I was looking at the whole pie. I was looking at the forest from afar while everyone else was looking at the trees from inside of the forest. The eyes can't see what the mind doesn't know. I could see clearly after my humbling because I had eyes to see and ears to hear. Nearly 40 years of research. Here are some of the subjects I researched and tried to understand. Ancient and modern history, geography, economics, political science, all religions, mythology, legends, folklore, art, architecture, literature, biology, botany, anatomy, animal and human behavior, psychology, chemistry, physics, cosmology, geology, and among many, many others. That is why I keep telling all of you to be patient. To get the truth, you have to build the foundation. I am not doing this for people that think they already know the answers. I am doing this for everyone. So please stop being selfish and be patient. There are plenty of other things you can research on YouTube if you need to kill time. Plus, I already have given you all the answers in the first few videos through the images and pictures. Again, the eyes can't see what the mind doesn't know. But as we progress and you learn the foundation, then you will be able to look back and see. The truth will be clear at the end, but I told you getting there can be tough. Now imagine my plight. I had no one to help me except ancient writings. Then I had to figure out what was legit and what was fake. Not an easy task. In order for me to teach you the model of everything, you have to learn the basics of the model first to see the truth of everything. You have to learn how to crawl before you can walk. How do I know my model is 100% correct? Because I tested it through real science, what the ancients warned and foretold, and I could not debunk it. Trust me, I tried. I equate it to turning in a math test that I knew I scored 100% because I checked all of my work. I know I am right. You will all have doubts because you didn't do the work. So your confidence will not be the same as mine. But in the end, you will know that I was 100% correct. I have never kept any notes or reference material at all to any of my work on this, for many different reasons, but mainly because I don't need to. I have a really high IQ and I can remember all this stuff and just pull it from my mind. Mia and I decided just over a month ago to disseminate this truth. So I am doing each topic daily straight from my head. The order I am disclosing is the only order that can be taught. You have to learn certain truths before you can grasp the following truths. It is the only way I know how to get people to understand. Plus, you are actually watching a movie being made. I will be editing all the parts together to make a longer movie. So you're getting the truth well in advance to when it should have been came out. Comment section. I approve all comments. Keep them clean and respectful. I will not get distracted or diverted. If you bring up gravity, have a Merry effing Christmas. I will get to the point where I will not be reading them and commenting. It's just too time consuming. If you make me mad, I will banish you to Elba. Part 14, How Light Really Moves on the Flat Earth, my magnus opus. Well, the controllers almost got something right, spirals. Just not solid matter, planets, and a ginormous perpetual nuclear furnace that spirals. the light spirals. More specifically, the plasma light spirals. Yep, I've been trying to tell everyone about simplicity. The controller's religious teachers, professors, mathematicians, engineers, theoretical scientists, etc. believe that complex means smart. Nope, sorry guys, the answers are always simple. Those letters behind someone's title and name that denote education level, status, and training mean nothing and won't get you the correct answer, except these three letters. B-A-L. Brianaustinlambert. Suck it, controllers.
Go away or I shall taunt you a second time.
What is plasma? Official explanation. Plasma is the fourth state of matter. The three other states of matter are solids, liquids, and gases. Plasma is created by adding energy to a gas. The charged particles in plasma will react strongly to EM, electromagnetic fields. If plasma loses heat, it will reform into a gas. What plasma really is? The first state of matter. EM, electromagnetic energy, converts to plasma through a magnetic bowl structure. The energy is confined and condensed into matter by temperature, hot to cold. Hottest plasma, then cools to gases, then liquids, and the coldest solids. Remember from part 3, I talked about fluid dynamics, the flow of gases and liquids while in movement. One key part the controllers forgot to mention in their definition, plasma. Plasma is a fluid also. All fluids' base movement structure is a spiral flow. Water, plasma, gases, air, etc. Water being poured from a pitcher. Spiral. Watch next time you pour any drink. Water draining in a sink. Spiral. Water in a whirlpool. Spiral. Water draining viewed from underneath. Spiral. Water in the form of urine. Spiral. Watch the flow the next time you pee. Water flushing your urine down the toilet. Spiral. Who is this man in the picture? Victor Schauberger, one of the greatest minds to ever walk the flat plane. Incredible inventor, just a glimpse of his work. You have to understand water to see the truth. Watch this video and any others about the amazing substance we call water. The Secrets of Water, the documentary of Victor Schauberger. Link will be in description. Okay, now back to fluids movement. Also the same with air, like this tornado. Spiral. Air in the form of cyclical storm systems. Spiral. Remember part 6 on how the magnetohydrodynamics works? Spiral. Same as in plasma, like in this plasma ball. Each arm spirals to the ground point. Plasma as in this spiral galaxy. Spiral. Yes, I am well aware that galaxies are not real, but this image is. I'll explain in later videos. Plasma as in this image of another structure above us. Spiral. Plasma as in this image of an ejection jet above us, spiral. Remember the right-hand rule of electricity from part 6? Spirals are an electromagnetic phenomenon based off of this rule. Plasma light spirals because it is a fluid that is governed by the right-hand rule of electricity, simplicity at its finest. Next video, I will show how the plasma light spiral gets turned into visible light as our sun. Look at the yellowish circle part above Georgie Porgy's head. Now look at the yellow circle part in this 1606 Mercator Hondius map. Part 15, Plasma into Visible Light on the Flat Earth, my magnus opus. How do you get light from plasma? That travels in a spiral pattern to become regular, visible, white light. Plasma is matter. It has substance and properties of matter, so it cannot go through other matter. It is self-illuminating and has light, but it does not have the same properties as visible light. The physical matter of plasma cannot go through a lens. Only the light can. So here is the process of how physical matter in the form of plasma, which is illuminated, at the center of the hollow electromagnetic sphere structure, becomes the focal point of visible white light we see as the sun in our sky. Remember your real source of light for the sun we see in our sky, the as above, so below pyramid. That is the source of plasma for the creation of light on your flat plane. The pyramid structure is an electromagnetic formation. It is powered by electricity. It causes plasma to be formed. The plasma revolves around the pyramid. Plasma is illuminated and condenses, then flows through the electromagnetic field structure. Plasma is a fluid and flows in the shape of a spiral from the right-hand rule of electricity. Spiral takes a vortex shape, wider at the top and narrower at the bottom. Plasma light spiral is drawn magnetically to our electromagnetic field/ice dome. Electromagnetic field and ice dome block the physical matter of the plasma. No physical matter of the plasma enters our dome. Light from plasma continues on and is not blocked by electromagnetic field or ice dome. Plasma light becomes visible white light. Visible white light is the only part of the plasma that can enter our dome through the transparent ice lens. Ice dome and waters above create the convex lens for the optics part of the process. Visible white light travels through converging convex lens. Visible white light converges to focal point, and that is what we see as the sun in our sky. Hey controllers, mind over matter. I don't mind, so you don't matter. Recap. The illuminated spiraling plasma matter is blocked by electromagnetic field and ice dome. The spiraling plasma light becomes visible light through the transparent ice and water lens. Convex lens converges visible light into focal point. Focal point of light is inside the sky / atmosphere / firmament / heaven. Focal point of visible light is the sun we see. No more, no less. Part 16, why the light does not melt the ice dome on the flat earth. My magnus opus. Okay, for all the real thinkers out there, so if the sun is super hot, how come it doesn't melt the ice dome? Because the sun is not this, like the controllers want you to believe. No, don't worry, this moron isn't mocking you. The sun we see in our sky is just this, the focal point of visible white light in the middle of our sky. The sun is not a perpetual nuclear furnace 93 million miles away with asinine temperatures and traveling at ludicrous speed.
For light speed.
No, light speed is too slow.
Light speed too slow?
Yes, we're gonna have to go right to ludicrous speed. Are we stopped?
We're stopped, sir.
Good. Well, why don't we take a 5-minute break?
Very good, sir.
Smoke if you got 'em.
All right, back to the question at hand. So if the sun is super hot, how come it doesn't melt the ice dome? 4 reasons. Number 1, the heat of the plasma spiral is repelled by the electromagnetic field. The electromagnetic field repulses / reflects the plasma when hit and deflects plasma heat away from ice dome. Number 2, the plasma light spiral travels in a tube-like structure and moves in a circular pattern as it hits the dome. So the heat from the plasma doesn't stay on one spot long enough on the ice dome. So in a 24-hour period, the plasma spiral travels in a circle and traverses the entire disk of the flat plane. So it would only be on one spot for a very short period of time. Number 3, the visible white light is diffuse and spread out while entering the convex lens, the ice dome, and water above. The diffuse visible white light is akin to the light temperature with a magnifying glass. Before the light hits the lens, it is diffuse and normal temperature. Only gets hot after the light travels through the convex lens and converges at the focal point of light. Number 4, the focal point of light is what causes the heat of the sun, and the heat is generated through the crossing of light at the focal point. The heat is inside of the ice dome in the middle of our sky at the focal point. The convex lens is the mechanism which creates the heat through the converging or crossing of light into the focal point, exactly the same as how lasers work. Fire at will, Commander. The Emperor, Return the Jedi. The heat of the sun is in the middle of your sky with the converging of light into a focal point. People, that is why we have an atmosphere where it is, between the waters. The heat of the sun in the middle of the sky evaporates the waters and turns them into gases or the atmosphere. The waters above and below are in liquid form because they are heated by the hot focal point of light we call the sun. The liquid waters are just outside of the atmosphere because it is a little cooler. Not hot enough to turn to gas, but warm enough to keep liquid water between 0 to 100 degrees Celsius and 33 to 212 degrees Fahrenheit. So ice is easy to see now. It forms at the furthest distance away from the actual heat source, the sun, in the sky. The dome is the furthest away from the heat source and will form ice because the focal point of light is directly in the middle of our sky. Simplicity, simplicity, simplicity. Recap. 1. Sun is not a nuclear furnace. 2. Sun is focal point of light in middle of sky. 3. Plasma heat is reflected by electromagnetic dome. 4. Plasma light is traveling around in circle, does not stay on one place long enough. 5. Light is diffuse, spread out going into lens. 6. Heat is generated at focal point of light, the sun we see in our sky. 7. Atmosphere and liquid waters heated by focal point of light in middle of sky, our sun. Part 17, Day and Night on the Flat Earth, my magnus opus. How does the focal point of light, we call the sun, create the observed day and night here on the flat plane? The plasma light, a fluid, travels in a spiral before it hits our dome. The plasma travels in a tube-like structure within the spiral. The inner tube is denser and more illuminated than the surrounding plasma. The plasma tube of light travels from the as above, so below pyramids above our dome. The plasma is governed by the right-hand rule of electricity. The direction of flow of electrical current is coming down towards our dome and us, so the plasma is moving in an east to west direction over our flat plane. Plasma spiral gets tighter as it travels away from source, the pyramids. The tube of plasma light hits top of dome. Physical plasma is reflected and light continues on through lens, which is the ice dome and waters above. The plasma tube of light is spiraling from the right-hand rule of electricity, so it moves from east to west. It does not hit just one point of the dome. It traverses the entire circle in a solar day. So in a 24-hour period, the plasma circle would traverse the entire circle of the flat plane. One complete revolution of the spiral is one solar day. So if you were to view the spiral plasma tube from above or below, this is how it would look. Or like the very center circle in this image of the Vajra. No worries, I will explain. Patience. The white section of the yin-yang symbol is the plasma tube, the illuminated part or day. The black section is the part of the plasma spiral that emits no light, the darkened part or night. Homework. Since I have no ability to make any cool graphics, print out a flat earth map like this image. Then print out an image of the yin-yang, cut out one section, the white or the black, then place cut out section on the FE flat earth map. Make sure that flat earth map and the yin-yang images are the same size or circumference. The sunrise and sunset times will match up perfectly of all major cities around the world. The curve of the light when hitting the surface is responsible for where and when the light hits, not the curve of a spinning globe Earth. Oh, by the way, do you remember the comets and their tails from part 10? It just so happens that there is something else that travels above us that creates a tail. The plasma tube of light creates a tail from the spiraling action of flow. So the front end of the white part is the circular tube. You view the rest of the tube as it spirals off behind the front part of the tube, hence the tail created from the spiraling action of the plasma tube. Nighttime is just the absence of the focal point due to the spiraling of the plasma light tube on the other side of the dome. No light in section of plasma, so no focal point created through lens. So the focal point of light is moving from east to west in our daytime sky because the spiraling plasma tube of light that creates the focal point is moving in a circle as it hits the dome above our heads, and it takes 24 hours to complete one revolution. The white part of the yin-yang is the daylight and the black part is nighttime. Recap. Plasma spiral creates inner tube, more concentrated and illuminated. Opposite side of tube lacks light. Direction of flow is coming down towards us. Right hand rule, spins from east to west. Tube hits dome, plasma repelled while light goes through lens dome. Light side with focal point and dark side project in a yin-yang pattern on flat plane. Create day and night. Tube takes 24 hours to make a revolution. One revolution equals 1 day and night. If you need more understanding of the plasma, please watch these 3 videos. These are the greatest experiments ever done. He was so close, but he just couldn't see beyond the heliocentric model and just a little off on a couple other key points. The world owes this man a huge debt of gratitude for his work. David LaPont. Primer fields 1, 2, and 3. Link will be in the description. Part 18, the solar year and seasons on the flat earth, my magnus opus. This video is from the perspective of the observer being in the northern hemisphere. If you live in the southern hemisphere, just reverse the information when applicable. How does the focal point of light, we call the sun, create the seasons and its annual movement from south to north and back to the south for the solar year? The answer is simple. The light expands and contracts, or in another word, it pulses. But even more specifically, the plasma tube of light expands and contracts or pulses. So what do I mean that the plasma tube of light expands and contracts or pulses? The plasma behaves similarly to how blood is pumped through our arteries. The blood will surge through with increased pressure during expansion and decreased pressure and flow during contraction. Plasma created above us has the same properties. It pulses, and each pulse is an expansion and then a contraction of the plasma. By the way, it is no accident that there is plasma above, and we all have plasma in our blood. So a solar year is the expansion to contraction back to expansion. It takes 365 days for this process or pulse to happen. An expansion to the contraction is 182.5 days. Then conversely, the contraction to expansion takes another 182.5 days. The expansion causes the focal point of light, our sun, to move south in the sky. The contraction causes the focal point of light, our sun, to move north in the sky. Focal point of light, the sun, direction of travel is east to west. Flow of electricity is coming down towards us, so it is governed by the right-hand rule of electricity. Remember what a day actually is. One solar day, one complete circle around the flat Earth, takes 24 hours. So the little yellow circle on the blue circle is representation of the sun, and it travels east to west on its daily path. The furthest the focal point travels south is the Tropic of Capricorn, the blue line, expansion of plasma. The furthest the focal point travels north is the Tropic of Cancer, the green line, contraction of plasma. A solar year is a complete pulse, 365 days, expansion to contraction back to expansion. Blue circle Capricorn to green circle Cancer and back to the blue circle Capricorn is 1 year. Now time to explain the seasons: winter, spring, summer, and autumn. The winter solstice from an observer in the northern hemisphere. Winter solstice, blue line, Tropic of Capricorn, furthest south daily revolution of focal point of light. Plasma tube greatest limit of expansion, furthest away from north, coldest winter temps. The spring equinox from an observer in the northern hemisphere. Spring equinox, red line / equator. Midpoint of contraction inwards toward northern limit of focal point, Tropic of Cancer. Plasma tube is contracting toward the northern contraction limit, so warmer spring temps. The summer solstice from an observer in the northern hemisphere. Summer solstice, green line, Tropic of Cancer. Furthest north daily revolution of the focal point of light. Plasma tube greatest limit of contraction, closest to the north, hottest summer temps. The autumn equinox from an observer in the northern hemisphere. Autumn equinox, red line / equator, midpoint of expansion outwards towards southern limit of focal point, Tropic of Capricorn. Plasma tube is expanding away from the northern contraction, so cooler autumn temps. Recap. Plasma tube of light pulses. A pulse of expanding and contracting plasma. Expands and contracts like arteries. Solar year is one full pulse. Expands, contracts, and expands. Focal point of light will travel south to north, back south. Tropics of Capricorn and Cancer are outer and inner limits of traveling focal point of light, our sun. Seasons determined by where sun is in relation to expansion and contraction cycle. Part 19, the shortening of days on the flat earth. Jesus's magnus opus. What is the shortening of days? Well, let's see what Jesus said about it. Then I will show you what he was talking about. Matthew 24:22, King James Version. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Jesus is talking about how the days will be shorter or less than the normal 24-hour day. How can that happen? Well, thanks for asking, because I'm about ready to show you. Our sun is not this. It is this: visible white light created at the focal point from a lens. Optics. People, go and watch Primer Fields 1 through 3 if you haven't already. The pyramids, or Z-pinch in plasma physics lingo, is what produces the spiraling plasma. Example of another Z-pinch above us. The Z-pinch, also known as the zeta pinch, is a type of plasma confinement system that uses an electrical current in the plasma to generate a magnetic field that compresses the plasma. Another example of Z-pinch above us. Remember, the plasma tube of light that creates the focal point of light, our sun in the sky, spirals and pulses. Here is a spiral caught red-handed in the Primer Fields 2 at 8:42. The more illuminated plasma spiral tube I've been talking about can clearly be seen in this experiment. Real science. The pulse of plasma light can clearly be seen at 2142. Plasma pulses fast because it is on a very small scale. Our plasma above us takes 365 days for a full pulse because of its vast size. And the same thing with one revolution of the spiral. If diameter of flat plane is 24,000 miles and it takes 24 hours for one revolution, then the speed of the spiral would be 1,000 miles per hour. Remember that everything is electromagnetic in nature. Not some things, everything. Homework: learn about Birkeland currents. That is why fluids need to travel in a spiral action. Birkeland currents equals spiral movement. An example of Birkeland current above us. Remember the center circle of the Vajra? And the yin-yang, or the way the light hits our flat plane? Looks just like the bottom view of a spiraling Birkeland current, because it is. Back to the question at hand: how can the shortening of days happen? The exact same way a figure skater gets faster as they bring their arms in. Angular momentum. Arms out, slower. Arms in, faster. Angular momentum. The plasma spiral is getting tighter and faster from the final surge of electricity before the change of direction of current. The change of direction of current is what causes the catastrophe and ushers in the red sky. So as the spiral gets tighter and faster, the plasma tube of light increases in speed. It will then traverse the entire flat plane in less time, or less than 24 hours. The days will be less than a normal 24-hour period, or the shortening of the days. Recap: plan, prepare, and survive. Get an analog clock. Battery powered is preferred. Do not have your computer or devices get automatic time updates. Monitor real time versus the controller's time. Compare the real time to sunset and sunrise times where you live. You will know when the shortening of days that Jesus warned you about is happening if you keep track of time. Shout out and a big thank you to Marie W., one of my subs who completed her homework from part 18. Part 20, the BS called gravity on the flat earth. Yes, this is a picture of actual BS. I would just like to apologize to my mom right now. I know you always taught me to not say anything if I had nothing nice to say. Sorry, but what is about to be said needs to be heard. Since we are covering BS in this video, I think I should start with some current events. SMH, shaking my head. If you think this is real, then have a Merry effing Christmas, because I do not want you to make it through the catastrophe. You most likely would be an evolutionist, and in this case, I agree. Survival of the fittest. And if you believe this BS, then you ain't fit and good riddance. So why the hell am I doing a video on the most ridiculous theoretical science BS of all time? Because I am compelled to. Ignorance runs rampant in our society, and I feel obligated to do my part to eviscerate any effing moron that believes in this BS. Yeah, I feel you, Mr. Chimp. I would be embarrassed too if they said they were descended from me also. I know, Al, it's a complete joke, but the vast majority of the population really believes in this crap. I'm trying to take this seriously, but it is so effing hard. Oh, hard as in stone? German etymology of Einstein, one stone. As in the stone like a stonemason or Freemason? Etymology of Albert, from the Germanic name Adalbert, which was composed of the elements Adel, noble, or Barat, bright or illuminated. The name was common among medieval German royalty. Yep. Does this face really look like it could figure out anything or tell any truth? Would you trust or believe him or this? Water. Always flat and has never lied to anyone. Ever. And here we go. So for the BS of gravity to work, they have to cheat to make their ridiculous equations work. How do they cheat? By improvising 96% of the values for their equation with completely fake numbers in the form of dark energy and dark matter. Yeah, I know. So here is an image of their dark energy. No, nothing wrong with the image. They call it dark because it is black and invisible and cannot be detected by any experiments. Yes, this rock-solid scientific evidence makes up 73% of their value for the gravitational equations to work. This polar bear is rethinking who runs this world right about now. Most likely thinking about putting humans on his menu. So here is an image of their dark matter. No, nothing wrong with the image. They call it dark because it is black and invisible and cannot be detected by any experiments. Yes, this rock-solid scientific evidence makes up 23% of their value for the gravitational equations to work. Damn, those lying bastards! Said they sent my great uncle Ham up into space in 1961. I'm so embarrassed for Ham right now. Remember what real science is, an experiment that is observable and repeatable. Only electromagnetism is observable and repeatable, and it is also scalable, which nothing else is. Gravity, strong and weak nuclear forces are not real science. They are theoretical BS. Sorry, people. You have been completely conned on everything. They have been milking you of your money, and they laughed all the way to the bank. So if you want to believe in something in which 96% of the numbers are make-believe, undetectable by any experiments, and fake, then I can't help you. And if you even mention it on my comment section or any other theoretical BS, I will banish you to St. Helena with no hope of return. Recap. If you still think I did not disprove anything, I don't give a shysta. I will not get distracted or diverted. I could give a rat's ass what you believe. Go F yourself for all I care. Because when the shysta hits the fan and the catastrophe happens, you will think of these 3 words. Brian, Austin, Lambert. Suck it, morons. Part 21, Genesis and Creation on the Flat Earth, God's Magnus Opus. I would just like to take the time to thank Brent for giving me the directions on how to read the Bible many years ago. He said that every word was true and he was 100% correct. Thank you, Brent, for the wisdom that humbled me and gave me eyes to see and ears to hear. People, the Bible is 100% true. Here, let me show you how creation happened through real science, electromagnetism, and optics. Genesis 1:1, King James Version. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Two, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Electromagnetic circuit shuts down in changeover. All electromagnetic confinement fields disappear without form and void. Heat is dispersed throughout entire system. All phases of water are in liquid form, the deep. No more ice or gas, all liquid water. The deep or waters were already there. The darkness was the light from the previous sky that was darkened or stopped emitting light due to the shutdown or changeover in electrical current direction of flow. 3. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Electromagnetic circuit starts back up when change of direction starts. The first light is an illuminated plasma tube spiral generated from this. The as above, so below pyramids. 4. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. The illuminated plasma tube or light looks like this while looking at it from below. Divided the light and darkness as it is approaching and before it gets to the reforming ice dome lens. Five. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. Leading edge of the white is the sunrise, the leading edge of the black is the sunset. The white part, light, day, and the black part, darkness, he called night. The evening or sunset and morning or sunrise, the first day. But the light is still in the plasma tube. The plasma tube light hasn't hit the lens yet. Since the electromagnetic field is up and running again, the magnetic dome is back up and ice dome forms, so lens is now taking convex shape again. Six. And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." The convex lens converges the light and the focal point of light forms. The focal point of converging light creates heat in the midst or middle of the waters and starts to evaporate waters around focal point to form the atmosphere or firmament that divide the waters from the waters. The firmament, atmosphere, or sky is formed from evaporation of waters from heat generated at and from the focal point. 7. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. The firmament or sky is made. The waters were divided by the sky or firmament, waters under and above the sky. The electromagnetic fields are back up, so waters above are repulsed by diamagnetism, along with heat and pressure of air in atmospheric bubble. All these factors are in play in repulsion and position of waters. 8. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. This is worth repeating. And God called the firmament heaven. The sky or atmosphere is the firmament and heaven. So all that believe in the rapture, here is what it really is. When the electromagnetic field goes down during the changeover or catastrophe, the electromagnetic force that keeps your feet on the ground is gone for a day or so. Whoever is not secured to the ground will be lifted and taken up to heaven. So the pre-trib rapture camp was right. It's just that you will not want this to happen to you. There are only two outcomes if you get lifted in the rapture. You will fall back to Earth when the electromagnetic fields start back up, or you will be sucked up into a spiraling vortex of junk and debris and will get squashed and liquefied when your dead body reaches the exit point of our plane. So either way, rapture is not good. And if you doubt me, then Merry effing Christmas to you. I don't care. Mediocrity is everywhere. I absolve you. Day 3. I will get into greater detail in later videos. There are a lot of hidden gems in here that need to be explained more in depth. 9. And God said, "Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. 10. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good. 11. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself, upon the earth." And it was so. 12. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good. 13. And the evening and the morning were the third day. "14. And God said, Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days and years." The lights are created in the sky or firmament, the sun and the moon. The moon, I will get to how her light is created. The sun is in the sky due to the heat and light created by the focal point of light from the converging of the convex lens, ice dome, and waters above. The focal point and the absence of the focal point on the nighttime side divide the visible white light, day from the night, the yin-yang pattern of how the light hits the surface of the flat plane. "And let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days and years." Signs, sun shortening of days and catastrophe. Seasons, moon for months, sun, solstices, and equinoxes. Days, spiraling of plasma tube light. Years, pulsing of plasma tube light. "15. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so." Sun and moon are the lights in the firmament. The sun, focal point of light that creates the heat and atmosphere from evaporating the waters into gases or vapors. The sky or atmosphere is the firmament or heaven. 16. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. The greater light, the sun, to rule the day, and the lesser light, the moon, to rule the night. The sun and moon, the two great lights, are just light, and are in the sky in between the waters above and below. The optics needed for both lights to form is done through the ice dome and waters above. The stars were the most irrelevant lights, and just a side note to God. He made the stars also. No worries, I will get to them late in the series. 17. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And God set the sun, moon, and the stars in the firmament or heaven to give light upon the earth or the flat plane. People, all the lights in the sky you see are just that, light, created by optics through a lens, no more, no less. 18. And to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. Yep, simplicity. Days 5, 6, and 7 I will get into greater detail in later videos. Do you see the triangle or pyramid-like structure in this drawing? Part 22, New Year's on the Flat Earth. Why am I doing a video about New Year's in this video series about the catastrophe? Because New Year's Eve is the end of the 7 days of creation. Christmas is the 25th of December and the start of the electromagnetic changeover catastrophe. The plasma appears on Christmas, or day 1 of creation in Genesis. December 25th, day 1 of creation. December 26th, day 2 of creation. December 27th, day 3 of creation. December 28th, day 4 of creation. December 29th, day 5 of creation. December 30th, day 6 of creation. December 31st, day 7 of creation. Plasma changeover event is over and God rested. And now you know why we start our new calendar year on January 1st, to remember and honor the 7 days of creation and the plasma catastrophe. The most logical time to start a new year would be on an equinox or solstice, but the controllers don't. They start it on what seemed to be a random date, 11 days after the winter solstice. So here is how the process plays out for the catastrophe to happen. The beginning warning signs that the catastrophe is imminent, the shortening of the days. Make sure to watch real time versus the controller's time. The harvest is always in autumn for those who have wisdom. Then the beginning of the electromagnetic changeover on the winter solstice, December 21st. Then the 3 days of watching the setting of the sun. If the sun sets heading back north on the 24th, then you will have another regular year. But if the sun keeps heading south and the light goes out on Christmas Eve, then the electromagnetic changeover has started, and December 25th, or Christmas Day, the plasma will appear. Then the 7 days of creation, or the 7 days of the plasma catastrophe, will occur, December 25th through December 31st. Culminating or ending on New Year's Eve, and the new sky appearing and ushering in the Golden Age. So now you know the truth about the real reason for the calendar starting on January 1st. It's either the start of a new year or the beginning of a new golden age or a new world order. Keep calm and survive Hell Week. 7 days, people. That is the total length of time the plasma catastrophe occurs during the changeover of electromagnetic current flow of direction. "100% completely survivable if you are smart about your decisions." I will teach you everything you will need to know in the coming videos on how to plan and prepare for this worldwide event. Hell Week. Only the strong will survive. Hoorah, Master Chief! If you believe you are already saved through grace, whatever that means, and are too afraid to live and too afraid to die, then more power to you. But just remember, you have been warned, and my conscience is free and clear. Part 23. The Electromagnetic Plasma Catastrophe and the Two Skies on the Flat Earth. Plasma's Magnus Opus. Warning. If you cling to any religious belief system, do not go any further. Your worldview will be shattered from the real truth. You have been warned. What you just watched was the Hell Week of the 7 days of creation in Genesis, beginning with one sky, then the plasma catastrophe with the elaborate plasma formations, and ending with the new sky. Direction of flow downward causes one sky. Direction of flow changes, plasma arcs in majestic patterns. For 7 days, the plasma causes havoc on everything. Direction of flow is now upward and creates a different movement and pattern of plasma flow for a new sky. How is it possible to see two different skies? The blue sky which we are currently in and the red sky which we are heading into. Again, the answer is always simple. The right-hand rule of electricity. When the light is coming down towards us or the surface of the flat plane, the plasma and the focal point will travel from east to west. The light will illuminate from the top down, hence we will be only seeing the light. The best analogy is someone standing at the edge of a forest at night and is shining a flashlight at you standing in a grassy clearing. You as the observer will only see the point of light because there is nothing the light is illuminating. So you will only see the light and nothing else. That is what we are currently in, the blue sky. When the changeover of direction of flow occurs during the catastrophe, then the light is coming up from below us or the surface of the flat plane, and also around our dome. The plasma in the focal point will travel from west to east. The light will illuminate from the bottom up, then all the objects above will be illuminated by the light and will be seen by everyone because the objects will no longer be hidden by the direction of light. So back to the analogy. If you are still standing in the grassy clearing and now you have the flashlight and shining it on the person standing at the edge of a forest at night, you as the observer will now see everything the light is illuminating: the ground, grass, forest, person, etc. From your vantage point, your light illuminates everything in its path. All the solid objects become revealed and are no longer hidden. That was the previous sky to our current blue sky, and will be the new red sky after the change of directional flow during the catastrophe. So through art history, you can determine what sky they were in by what the artist depicted, because it is exactly what they witnessed. People, it's time for you to learn how recent the last changeover event was. Please go to Philip Drushisen's channel and watch his series on the mud flood. Link will be in the description. So how did the ancients describe and record the electrical plasma events they witnessed during the catastrophes? The plasma was deified and called gods in all cultures. The ancients feared the plasma gods because of the devastation it brought. The plasma was described and depicted by the ancients as gods, people, heroes, saviors, hair, birds, wings, feathers, snakes, arms, hands, etc. A close-up picture of the plasma center. The Greeks, Medusa. Plasma. One dared not look at Medusa or they would be turned to stone. That is actually true, and I will get to that later in the series. The Mayans, Quetzalcoatl, the feathered or plumed serpent. Plasma. The Hindus, Kali. Kali, the multi-armed goddess, is a fearful fighting figure with a necklace of heads, skirt of arms, lolling tongue, and brandishing a knife dripping with blood. Plasma. The Hebrews, the burning bush Moses spoke with in the book of Exodus. Exodus 3:2 King James Version. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire, out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. Plasma. Yeah, people, Exodus is the story of the plasma changeover catastrophe, and the Lord in that book was just a plasma in the sky, burned but was not consumed. Plasma. Now, are you starting to see? No belief is safe from the real truth. As the changeover occurs, the plasma takes multiple forms, but here is the one the ancients recorded as a two-pointed vajra, or the thunderbolt of the gods. Two-pointed vajra with 4 plasma arms. Plasma. Two-pointed vajra with 8 plasma arms. Plasma. Zeus, holding a thunderbolt or two-pointed vajra, plasma structure. Plasma. Jesus, and two-pointed vajra thunderbolt with wings or plasma rotating around central Z-pinch. Plasma. Do you see the two-pointed vajra in the right hand of the figure at the very top in the center of the clouds? Plasma. The ancients all over the flat plain warned future generations through art, myths, folklore, legends, traditions, stories, and writing. That is what the controllers know and the masses don't. Your true history. And if you think electrical plasma is just a harmless state of matter, then you are in for a rude awakening on Christmas of 2000 blank blank. Mr. Too Tough 2 video on electrical plasma arcing. Link will be in the description. All videos are broken down by topics so you can reference back to them when needed. So many topics to cover, so we only have time to give you the answers and some examples. Homework will be required of you if you want to verify or dig deeper on an individual topic. Thank you. This wisdom is for everyone. Pass on what you have learned.